was chewing tobacco. Are you kidding me? I never had tobacco in these lips in my life. I don't know what that looked like. Hang on. Something like this? Yeah, that's pretty good stuff there. Oh, I ain't going to spit it out. I'm going to eat it. Oh, let's see here. Alan says, Pastor Mike, I listened to a pastor that taught me Bible numerics. The Mayans are saying that it is the return of their flying serpent god. What does the Bible say? Same thing. Revelation 12:12, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath because he knoweth. I don't look for the devil to show up on December 21st. Now, Alan, I'm not saying you're crazy or anything like that. I honestly, and I may be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll get up and tell everybody's wrong. I am looking for a non-event to happen December 21st, 2012. I am looking for a non-event to happen, all right? Adrian, Watcher Doyle in Nederland says, could God have let the devil or devils do this because Americans are trusting their own carnal weapons and not in the sword of the Spirit, the Word of God? Adrian, let me say this, okay? And I understand that we Americans, we grow up differently. We see things differently. We see the world differently. And that comes as a result of the whole history of America. The whole history of America is the gun and the Bible. Those two things right there are what made America what it is. Now, as far as guns and Christians not trusting their carnal weapons and not the sword of the Spirit. Number one, Adrian, out of fairness to us Americans, I will say this. When I lay my head down on my... Now, number one, before I go to bed, my wife says, did you check the front door? Absolutely. The front door is locked, deadbolted. Back door, locked and deadbolted. 2 locks on both of my doors in my house. There's nothing wrong with me locking my doors twice with a deadbolt at night. We would not. I would consider that trusting carnal things, but it's prudent. It's right. I'm not going to leave. It would be silly for me to leave my door open, or in today's world, it would be silly for me to leave my door unlocked. Number two, when I lay my head down at night, I'm asking God, watch over my house, protect my house. I also have weapons in my house, one of which is loaded. There's one in this room right now, and it is loaded. And it's an unloaded weapon is not a weapon. It's not. It's nothing. I have a weapon. I have a license to carry that weapon. And should someone come in my house, there's a theory in the law of America that pretty much exists here that says if someone breaks into your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, they are not trying to sell you a vacuum cleaner. They intend some sort of harm. Adrian, I have a moral, I have a biblical responsibility, and this is the case I'm laying out in the Watchman broadcast. I have a moral and a biblical responsibility to defend my house with a physical weapon. I have that obligation. I have that responsibility. My wife and my children, and if they killed the dog, I don't care. If they took, I don't really have anything. If they took the TV in the living room, big deal. But I don't know what they're in my house for. But if they're in my house at 2 o'clock in the morning, I have the right to presume that they mean to harm a member of my family. And I have a moral obligation and a biblical allowed obligation to defend my home with an equal or greater force than the person who comes in my home has. That's what I have. I have that obligation. Now, I understand the whole idea about praying. So far, nobody's ever broken in my house. So far, nobody's ever threatened me or my family with a gun. And I trust the Lord. Having a gun does not mean that I don't trust God. You don't see that anywhere. In fact, Adrian, Jesus himself told his disciples, take a sword. And they said, well, we've got two here. He said, that's fine. That's good. Go read it. Gary brought that up to me. Luke 22:38. And I'm just saying to you, I am not going to put what they do to me, I don't care. I really don't care. For me to live as Christ, to die as gain. Big whoop. But I am not. I know a pastor in America. This was about 30 years ago, something like that, close to it. Him and his wife, they were a young couple. He was pastoring a church outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. The house that they lived in was right next to the church. It was a church parsonage. After the Sunday morning service, after telling everybody goodbye, I love you, great service and everything like that, he walks in, him and his wife walk in to two men in their house. They take this pastor, they bind him up and tie him up, beat him up, and then they force this pastor to watch as they repeatedly raped his wife in front of him. I don't know that I don't see how I could live with that. That was a pastor. That was a pastor. Did he trust God? Have no reason to believe that he didn't. If he would have had a weapon on him and could have gotten to it, he would have used it in a heartbeat. After what they did to his wife, he would have used it. And he is not biblically wrong nor morally wrong. So anyway, that's my answer. I understand, and I don't, Adrian, I would not pass judgment on you for having an adverse opinion on this. And I understand Americans, and we had a fellow countryman of yours, John, who come over here. We took him out in the backyard and let him shoot guns. We can do that here. Not in the city, but if you live out in the country, you can go out in the backyard and shoot stuff. You can blow stuff up with guns. That's who we are. And at they have gun shows in this country where guns are sold by the thousands. And no one ever gets killed at a gun show. Caleb, everybody's looking at you. You know that, don't you? Okay, he doesn't care. No one ever gets killed at a gun show. No one ever gets robbed at a gun show either. A gun in the hand of a responsible human being does exactly what it's supposed to do. And if someone who wants to harm you knows that you have one, they're not going to harm you. Why? Because you have it within your hand to take away their life instantaneously, and that is, for the most part, a deterrent. Ted writes in and says, do we also have a moral and biblical responsibility to defend not only our homes and immediate family, but the defenseless as well? I would say this, if I saw someone being robbed, raped, beat up, or whatever, I'm going to jump into action. I'm not going to stand by and let that happen. That is immoral. That is wrong to do that. Biblically, that's wrong to do that. Morally, that's wrong to do that. And so the question is, we ask ourselves, do we not also have a moral and a biblical right to use arms in the defense of our country and our freedom? That's a big question. It's one that I'm pondering this week. I don't know if my music is going to work. Everybody say hi to Caleb. He's just sitting back there happy as a lark. Got him a candy cane, and I think he's wanting me to leave. Anyway, good to be with you today. Let's see if we can get some music going here. There we go. There we go. I don't know if the blob music is going to work today, but I'm going to sign off today. Good, Adrian. Good discussion. Okay, and I appreciate the question. It's a very well thought out question, and that's my answer. I believe that I have an obligation to use a weapon to fight for my family. So anyway, God bless you. We will see you tomorrow. Pure Bible Study, Wednesday Church, Thursday Pastor Mike Online. I'll promise you a microphone will work. And then pray for the course of the Watchman video broadcast for this next week. All right. God bless you. We'll see you.